Hairdressers Journal International, and we're here for today's Upskills session, which is being streamed live across Hairdressers Journal International, Professional Beauty, Hairdressers Journal, Professional Beauty Ireland, and Modern Barber. So we've got loads of you tuning in for us today, and we're graced with the pleasure of having Liz McKeon with us, who is a business consultant and is absolutely amazing, which I'm sure you already know if you've tuned into any of her lives previously. And today she's going to be talking to us about what we can learn from 2020. And she'll be giving you the tools you need and the right questions to ask that will help you to reflect on what you learned from the challenges, successes and failures that you experienced during 2020. So hopefully you can all make this year a fresh start. So it's great to have you with us, Liz, for our first session together of 2021.
Can't believe we're in 2021 already. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Definitely, it was great to have you. And we've obviously had quite a few chats before this session, and we spoke a little bit about why it's so important for us not to write off 2020. Should we maybe start off with that, Liz, with you kind of explaining the importance of looking back?
Yes, I think it's really important because we've had a very disappointing start now to 2021, where I think most people finished last year drawing a line under it and hoping, to reopen as normal for 2021. So I think it's important to acknowledge where we're at, and it is tough and it is really hard, but it would be very easy to write off 2020 and say, it was a disaster and, we were locked down and everything went wrong. But, everything didn't go wrong. It was tough and it was hard, but being in business is never easy. It's always challenging. It can be very rewarding, but it's never plain sailing and it's never that easy. And certainly if I look back on my own career, the biggest learning comes in the hard times. It doesn't come in the easy times. When we're on cruise control and everything is going fine, we don't actually learn that much about ourselves and about running a team and managing our businesses and growing our businesses. But I think it was Winston Churchill said, never let a good crisis go to waste. So there's learning, a huge learning in 2020. And it would be really easy to say, my business was a disaster or nothing went well. Quite a lot did go well. And I think it's really important to take the time, and we do have time at the moment, to actually sit and reflect on the positives of 2020.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and the growth and the phenomenal growth and demand for our industry. So I think, take the time to actually sit and think, well, what did I learn in 2020? What did I learn about my business, and what did I learn about myself as an entrepreneur, an operator, or hairdresser, whatever your discipline actually is? Yeah,
most 100%. And if you're tuning in live, we'd love to hear your thoughts on what you feel like you learned in 2020, if you're willing to share that with us. And by all means, if you have any specific questions for Liz while we've got her on this live, do feel free to type those into the comment section and we'll try and get through as many of those as possible. And where should we start then, Liz? Should we start maybe with you talking about the key learnings that from a generic point of view that people tuning in might have been able to take from 2020?
Yes, and I think it means sitting down with yourself and a notebook and pen, and just being disciplined enough to say, right, I'm going to sit and reflect, which we would normally do anyway at the start of a year, planning for this year and having a look back on last year. So I think there's questions to ask ourselves, and the first one is definitely, what did I learn? What did I learn? And certainly if anybody had said to me last January, wearing a face mask will be mandatory, your industry will be closed for several months during the year, I would have thought we would have all, myself included, fall apart, and that, how would we still be here standing strong in 2021? And I think that's the biggest lesson for people to acknowledge about themselves, is the actual ability to keep going, to, no matter how bad it is, that I can pick myself back up, I can go again, I can reopen. And the inner strength that people have that perhaps they don't acknowledge within themselves at all. And that stands to you forever. That ability, that inner strength that most people that I've met in the industry have, but just really take for granted. So I think, what did you learn about yourself and your ability to keep going in tough times in 2020 will actually stand to you. It'd be great in 4 or 5 years' time. We could look back and say, 2020 and 2021 were really peculiar and really strange, but my business is thriving now because of what I learned during those tough times.
Fantastic. We've got lots of people tuning in and saying hello.
Great.
So as I say, please do talk to us in the chat if you're watching us direct through Zoom, or in the comment section if you're watching us on Facebook. So hello to Joe, hello to Kim, hello to Jackie. And Andrew Dunn has said, the amazing Andrew Dunn, he said his value online tripled in 2020. So that's a great positive to reflect on from last year, isn't it?
I think most people can say that. And I think it's the next question to ask yourself is, what did I achieve in 2020? And, for years, I'm talking about the potential in retail, the potential of online, and how it's another revenue stream. And I know most people didn't really believe me all through the years, where they were too polite to say they didn't believe me. But really, people didn't believe me about the potential that there is in all your businesses in retail. And I think that's the biggest learning that so many people discovered, that actually there's this amazing other business, another department to your business, with online consultations and retail sales and all of that. Yes, and even this morning I was talking to a business owner, and she said she's just focused on her retail, and she had a target for January, and she's €70 away from her target, and we're only halfway through the month. She just had to she kept the number and just swapped it to retail sales, and has been really focusing on getting her retail out there and improving her social media presence, and she's like €70 away from it. So yes, it's just incredible that there's these other revenue streams that are there that you can bring forward with you now into 2021 and make sure that your business stays incredibly safe and successful. Yeah.
Brilliant. And I guess it's not too late, is it? So even if you feel like you missed the boat and you didn't take that opportunity to grow your retail in 2020, when salons were unfortunately having to close, and I know a lot of us are all in lockdowns right now, it's not too late, is it, Liz, to think, right, what could I do now to create some revenue that will keep going when I'm not able to open?
Absolutely not. I mean, if it was something that bypassed you slightly last year, well, you have so much proof in the pudding now from what everybody else has to say, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just do a little bit of research and copy what somebody else is doing that actually works, and just get going. Because I think it's really important to stay proactive around your business now, and to keep going. Particularly in January, it'd be so easy to just get into bed and not get out of it. But then it makes it harder to restart. So yes, there's a whole project just to keep your business alive and going and working. And I think, the confidence that brings then is incredible.
Brilliant. We actually had, if anyone missed it, we had an upskill session on Monday. We're doing digital style upskill sessions on Mondays. And we have a great one with Kate Woods, who was talking about adding a retail arm to your website. So if you missed it, do check out that session, because if that's something you want to concentrate on.
Yes.
Gaynor has said she said it felt really good to feel appreciated when she went back to work in July. So that's a really positive learning to take from 2020, isn't it, Liz?
Yes, and I think that's another question, like, what am I actually proud of? What am I proud of? And for keeping going and reopening and providing employment and getting your head around the health and safety guidelines and adding retail into your business and keeping in touch with your clients and understanding just how important you are in your clients' worlds, and the fact that our industry has been completely repositioned as one of the most important industries globally in terms of personal services, touch therapies, hairdressing. So there's so much good that actually came out of our industry for 2020, and let's acknowledge it and identify it and bring it forward with us to 2021. Yeah.
Fantastic. And we're going to constantly have people asking us questions throughout this session, but I'm keen. Time always runs away during our sessions.
I talk too much.
So maybe we were talking about the learnings from 2020. If somebody wants to sit as a task, wants to sit down with a sheet of paper and a pen, what key questions should they be outlining and answering for themselves before they get going again for 2021?
I think let's keep it simple, and let's stick to quite basic things. We know the world is changing. We know we have to live with this uncertainty. It's continuing through us. I think our industry, because it's being repositioned, is completely different. So, well, not completely different, but it's in demand, and it's out there. And I think now people have time to think and review and plan forward. And how do you want your business to look in 2021? And I think a big important question to ask yourself is, what am I going to let go of? Who am I going to let go of? What do I want to have achieved at the end of 2021? What do I want my business to look like? What do I want to have achieved by then? So what am I letting go of? There were so many things that we thought we could never cope if things changed, or they didn't or it didn't happen, or we were closed down. But you know what? You're there, and you're bigger, and you're stronger than ever. So what are the little habits and the people around you, or customers that maybe don't serve you that well? So what are you letting go of going into 2021 whenever we get to reopen? And I think your starting point should be so much stronger than any other new year, because look at what you achieved, look at what you weathered in 2021. So what are you letting go of in terms of your own thinking, your business management, how you run your business? What changes do you want to make? And what do you want to sit with yourself on Christmas Eve at the end of 2021 and say, I achieved it? So there's time to actually think about, what am I letting go of? It's a bit like spring cleaning, isn't it? I have to let go of certain things in order to make room for the new things. And there is a new world coming, and we have to be ready to embrace it. So what do I want to let go of for 2021? What do I want to stop doing? Who do I want to let go of? So let go of, first of all. And then what am I bringing in? What am I bringing forward with me? And another question, what were my biggest strengths in 2020? Like, what were your biggest strengths that kept you going, that kept you resilient, that kept the doors reopening? And I think the fact that most people had to close their businesses and then reopen them. And the biggest problem most business owners I spoke to was where to fit in all the customers. And that must give confidence. Before you might have just taken it for granted. Now you know how important you are.
Exactly, 100%. There's been never any more focus from the media point of view, from societal point of view, on the importance of the hairdressing, beauty and barbering industries. The public have really learned how much they treasure having you in their lives, haven't they?
And I think for me, that's something I'm quite proud of. All the different people who said to me, I thought, thank heavens people have made that switch in their brains. So many people said to me, I'll never say again, I'm only a hairdresser. I'm only a beautician. I'm only a nail technician, because I think people got to understand, you were so much more important than doctors or dentists or anybody else. People wanted what you have. And I was really proud of people that said, I'll never say that about myself again.
If we take anything from this, that should be it, shouldn't it? You should never put the word only before your job title, because you're definitely not only anything.
No. So I was really proud of people that made that psychological shift. It sounds like a small thing, but to me, it's an actually huge thing, because it means people value themselves more. And the people who were saying it to me, I was saying, right now, I hope you're going to up your pricing and all that sort of thing. Yes,
most definitely. We've had a lovely comment actually from Sarah, who said she's learnt the importance of home life. She was very used to being so work focused before, and she's now built walking into the forest, for instance, into her daily schedule. But I guess that's another important thing to consider if you're a salon manager or a salon owner, how you're going to divvy up your tasks throughout the day to make sure you do have a life of your own as well, I guess, Liz.
And I think the length of time with the lockdowns are making that more manageable. And yes, I'm so pleased that so many people said that to me coming out of lockdowns. I got used to going for my walk every day, or doing my yoga every day, or eating 3 meals a day, or sleeping properly, because I think most of us have a tendency to put the clients before you and your teams ahead of yourself. But actually, how do you take care of all these people if you don't take care of yourself? So it's really good to hear most people saying, I enjoy taking care of myself, or going to the gym, or going to the forest, or whatever it is, and I'm not letting go of that. So I'm saying, what are you letting go of? But then what new habits are you holding on to that will benefit you and your teams and your clients? Yeah, and it's really good to hear people saying that. Yeah. Well done.
Definitely. We've had lots of positive comments. Anora, Belinda, Amy, they're all saying that they've learned the importance of online and social, but also just how important the treatments are to the clients and the support and value for their businesses. And as in turn, they now will believe much more in their own businesses as well. So I guess their confidence has come from 2020 and the fact they've got through it the other side.
Isn't that just wonderful to start off with that level of confidence? And what you know, if you take that to the next level, it doesn't really matter going forward what happens to you if that's your big lesson from 2020, because you now have the confidence to know that whatever the world hits you with and whatever happens in the economy and whatever happens that's out of our control, you will deal with it. And there's great power in that sentence. I know I can deal with anything that hits me. Yeah, really helpful, isn't it?
Yeah. Most definitely. And we've got this 3-part series with you, Liz, and this is obviously the first part. And we wanted to kind of ease into it, didn't we, with a reflection-based session. Yes. And for anyone, and so I guess this is a great positive way to start. But for anyone who's sort of tuning in thinking, I need to join this session because I feel like I should be doing something on my business, and there might be feelings of guilt. What advice would you give to people who are tuning in and they sort of kind of don't quite know what to do at the moment? Do you think this reflection angle is the way forward for the time being?
I think that's a starting point. And then next week, we're moving on to business planning. And I think everybody I meet in the industry works at such a fast pace and is always so busy. And we're in the habit of, and I'm really guilty of this myself, I always feel like I have to be doing things. So to actually sit and just think and reflect is challenging for us, but there's merit in it. And I think it's useful. And I think to actually slow down in order to speed up and become more productive is a useful start to 2021. So with that train of thought, next week we'll be moving on to actually business planning and thinking about your business and what are the goals that you want to achieve for 2021. So bear with us, we'll get there next week, but I think it's really useful to reflect on what you're bringing forward, what you're letting go of, what changes that you made that you want to carry forward with you, and then that's a really, really strong position to start business planning from.
Most definitely, Liz. And I guess one of the other key things to consider is the way that clients' wants and needs changed in 2020, and they will probably remain that way in 2021 as well.
Yeah, I think, without getting too philosophical about it, but I think if we look back through history, anytime there's been an enormous big universal shift, commerce changes, industry changes, and there's no doubt about it, the world is definitely changing. You know, when things finally do settle down, we're not going back to the way things were. Excuse me, things will be different going forward, and we've all got to adapt with that. Yeah, so it's exciting. A new world is coming.
Definitely. Maria said, which I think is fantastic, is that she's learned we always need to have a backup plan.
Yeah,
which is very true, isn't it, Liz?
Yeah, we always need plan B. And most of the time we're spinning so fast, you know, we might have plan B, but we are way at the back of our minds. Now, excuse me, we do have we do have time to develop plan B, and it's all about now keeping our businesses safe. Yeah.
Definitely. And a few people have mentioned the importance of having multiple revenue streams if possible. And a network of fantastic experts that allow them to respond quickly to online issues. And finally, the importance of having that pot of savings for a rainy day.
Well, you know, there's several, the revenue streams is an interesting one, really, because the fact that our main hands-on work is stopped forces you to put on your entrepreneurial hat and think outside the box. And these other revenue streams are there. And they're there to be built up and to be grown. And isn't it fantastic to have the time to actually see, well, revenue or retail is a whole other revenue stream. Courses are a whole other revenue stream. Online consultations are a whole other revenue stream. So it's like we can now take the salon businesses and divide them into different categories and build up each division. I don't have COVID. I've just been talking too much lately.
No, yes, I should say that Liz has squeezed us in amongst a day of training, so she has been talking all day long. But we really value the fact that she's giving us the time for today's live session. So thank you, Liz.
No, I'm sorry, my voice is
your
just
voice will need it will need a good rest tonight, won't it?
Yes.
But that is very interesting, isn't it, Liz, that these new avenues and opportunities for generating more money for your business has come from 2020.
Isn't it great? And it's the realization that, you know, I don't have to put all of my eggs in one basket. I'm not relying on what I thought I was relying on before. And previously, so many business owners said to me after the first lockdown that they couldn't believe that by just doing online consultations, selling retail, selling gift sets, just keeping in touch with their clients, they were able to keep the show on the road and to actually understand. And I think it gives people options. You mightn't even want to take the option, but actually, you know, if I do want to close down the bricks and mortar, I have options that I really never understood that I had before. That's really empowering and freeing, and it gives an element of safety and security and reduces your stress levels in a time that's probably the most stressful we've ever lived in. Yeah, thinking outside the box. Yeah, it's great.
Definitely. And I guess when the world goes back to some form of normal and your staff start to go on holiday, say in the height of summer, you've then got that extra revenue coming in through retail and through online consultations when maybe you have less staff on the shop floor, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that's valuable, isn't it? Because I know going in now to lockdown is cruel. There's no point in saying it's not, but so many people said to me after the summer and then they reopened that they took their eye off the ball with the retail, and then it took a dip, and now they realize I can't ever take my eye off the ball. I've got to run all my different departments parallel, and isn't that just fantastic?
That's a great way to look at it as well, Liz, isn't it? As a separate department, it's another arm of your business that's not just going to pop up for lockdowns. Hopefully we won't have many more of them, but it's a constant that's now an extra service that you're giving to your clients.
Yeah, and I think it's really important as well to take this time. That's why I think the reflecting is so important, to actually print off your reports and sit with them and find the gaps. There's always gaps. We can always improve. Find the gaps in your trading last year and the year before, and go through all your reports with a fine-tooth comb and say, well, right, where are the gaps and how can we close them? So, for example, earlier this week I was working with a salon owner and we just downloaded one of the reports, and I just said, let's have a look at your top 10 customers from last year. And the top 10 customers, well, they spent a lot of money. They'd all bought less than 10 products. So even while online retail sales had come up, I was able to say, look, there's still a gap for retail to come up attached to services. So so this time is time to reflect, review, make your plans, and start whenever we can reopen, really confident, really solid plans for goals for this year.
Most definitely. And Paul has said he learned that the online appointment system was incredibly valuable for his business, and it allowed him to stay in touch with clients, sell products, and let them know when he'd be open again. He definitely needs to get his online shop as well, so sorted. But that's a real positive there as well, isn't it? And again, there's still time for anyone who's tuning in thinking, oh, I didn't try that in 2020.
Yeah, and the other thing that I found is, people are so generous with their information and their feedback about what works and what didn't work, and there's much more of a community feel. I'm sensing,
most definitely. And Julie, who's Julie, who tunes into HJ Lives. Hello, Julie. It's great to have you with us. She said that she's learned a lot about colour in 2020 because there was so much fantastic free online education from all of the big companies, and as well as cutting classes as well. So I guess that's another positive as well, is that everyone will be going back in 2021 with a lot more knowledge, expertise and techniques to give to clients, and therefore you can price yourself accordingly.
Yeah, it's almost like restarting your business, because when do you get, not that we would have asked for, but when do you get time to restart your business, to stop for a few months, review, and then make the changes that you need to make, and keep that in alignment with what's happening within the industry. And certainly I've been incredibly impressed with most of the distributors that I've been speaking with, because it's always like the conversation that continues to be, and how can we help everybody? How can we help the accounts? How can we help the stockers? And everybody is there to give support, and that's just wonderful from the industry as well. Yeah. And all the technical upskilling that you'd never have time to do.
No, exactly. You wouldn't be able to fit it into your day normally, would you?
No, you wouldn't. No.
We do have one comment from Honora. She's feeling a little bit worried. She does facials, so she's worrying about when she'll be able to go back to doing full facials. So she realises she definitely needs a plan B. But her question is, should she keep all of the products and streams under one umbrella, or promote them separately, such as skincare and false eyelashes?
Well, this is why I think we've got to be, while we need to have our goals and our plans for the year, I think we've got to be incredibly flexible with them, and you know, whatever the industry is demanding and whatever we can facilitate, then that's what we sell. And we've got to cut our cloth to measure, and that's it's hard because it's changing day by day by day. But I think, you know, to bear in mind that your customers love you, and once you keep in touch with them, they will be drawn to you. So, you know, if you can't do skincare but I can do eyelashes, well, you know, they'll come to you because they want to spend time with you. So if I can't have what I normally have, I'll have something else, so long as I get my slot with you. So I don't think, you know, it's wise to spend our time worrying that our clients won't come back. Your clients will come back because they love you.
And like you say there, Liz, which is crucial, it's telling those maybe clients who would normally come in for a facial, I can't do a facial right now, but I can do this instead, and giving them options that maybe they hadn't even considered before.
Yeah. So you have your slot with me. This is what you used to come for. I can't do that now, but you know, you still have your slot for an hour. So I'm booking you in, and we decide what we're going to do when you're there.
Definitely. And we can't underestimate the power of the fact that all members of the public, I'm sure me and you including, Liz, we want that one-to-one time where we feel pampered, and we don't necessarily care what we get at the end of it. I don't mind for a while.
Just so I'm allowed in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It's about the service, and it's about the experience with you, and it's about your expertise, and it's about how enjoyable it is being with you. So it isn't always about the technical work.
Definitely. And we've got some great positivity coming from Zaki, who's a barber and is tuning in. Thank you, Zaki. I hope I'm saying your name right. He said he wants to share something positive for 2020 that might help other business owners. He lost 50% of his clients last year, and he lost his barbers as well, but he still feels like he is standing strong. So please do share with us, Zaki, what you're planning to do for 2021, because it sounds like you've got exciting plans in the background. And that's a great example, isn't it, of thinking this is what happened in 2020. Tuning into this session for a start, it's a great start, and also considering how to move forwards in 2021.
Yeah, I like that phrase. You know, nothing is missing; it's all just changing, and we have to be able to see the positives. And it isn't, you know, it's just new ways of doing things emerging all the time. So well done, yeah. And it would be easier to sit down and just, you know, not see the positives. That would be easy. It takes a real kind of inner strength to get up and say, no, I'm going again. You know, that I'll make the changes, I'll adapt, and I go forward again. Yeah, I have this phrase that if we're going to fall backwards so we can see the sky and we can still get up.
I love that, Liz.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what an entrepreneur is. It's not about the number of times we fall down, it's about how we get back up. And that's really what 2020 and 2021 seem to be about.
Definitely. And I guess the starting point is, as we're talking about in this session, is reflecting on 2020 and what you've learned from it and can take from it into 2021. Yeah.
And I think because you've got time to think about your business and work on your business, not just always just in it, I think another question to ask yourself, what's the main business skill I want to learn in 2021? Yeah. And I think we've all identified it. We're not naturally IT people, but we were having to embrace it and continue with that. But decide for yourself, like, what is the number one business skill that I'm going to work on and that I want to learn and that I want to use to improve my business in 2021, because we're all work in progress.
Yeah, that's a great tip there, Liz. I'm sure anyone tuning in will be able to list countless skills that they learned in 2020, which they never thought they would be learning, but were forced into it. So this is a great opportunity to choose what you would like to learn by the end of 2021.
Yeah, and it's about pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone, isn't it? And you know, putting our toe in the water and trying something new. Like, just finished speaking to one lady, and she runs Zoom sessions, and this might be helpful for the viewer that was asking about the skincare. She now runs a session once a month, a Zoom session, teaching her clients how to do facials at home. And then but it's kept her business alive, because whatever products she recommends, because she's the expert, they all want them. So the next day she just has to put in a huge big order for everybody's products. And yeah, so little things like that. And she said, like, she would never have done that before.
That's fantastic. And that can be applied across, for instance, with hair, you could do styling tutorials to make people's hair look styled in a nice way for Zoom meetings and things like that. And again, for barbering, helping men to style their hair at home, which all requires products.
Yeah. I know quite a few people doing that now at the moment, and it keeps them in touch with their clients, and the clients absolutely love it. Yeah.
Great tip. Fantastic. Well, as always, Liz, we are getting to the end of this session. The time always just flies by, doesn't it? I know. Yeah. We've had so much positivity during this session, and I do hope it's been useful for everybody. Or we've just had a lovely message, which I will just mention before we end. And if anyone has any last minute urgent questions, please do get them in this last couple of minutes. And Lisa Rawson has just said, after training a few days with Liz on one of your seminars, she's built a great relationship with all of her staff.
Oh, good.
With regular meetings. She's managed to keep the whole team. They've all come back with great attitude when we reopened. And she said, thank you so much to you, Liz. So,
oh, my pleasure. I'm delighted, Lisa. And thank you for the feedback, because that's what it's about now. If we can stay focused, we can start stronger, finish stronger, have an amazing 2021. Just have to keep hanging on in there and making the most of the time that we have over the coming weeks to plan our businesses and set your goals. And I suppose I'd like to say to people, like, what's your biggest goal or plan for your business in 2021? And if we can stay focused on that, it doesn't matter what happens externally, you will achieve it.
That's fantastic, Liz. And I guess I'm sure there'll be lots of mixed emotions of everyone who's tuning into the session. But even if you've got to fake it till you make it, that positivity will help you to get through 2021 bigger and stronger, won't it?
Well, we've got this far. You're not going to give up now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
We won't let you give up.
No, exactly. We're all here for you. And we've got all of these sessions as well. This is the first in 3-part sessions with Liz, which will be every Thursday at 12:30. So please do tune in again for Liz's next session next Thursday. And then the following Thursday we'll have another one. But there's lots of other upskill sessions which we're doing across our brands as well over the next few weeks to keep you all engaged and to talk to one another as well. And so much positivity coming through, Liz. Nancy has said, positive advice, thank you. Clara said, let's do this. Hadzio said, thank you so much for this session, really encouraging us. Helen, lovely positive session. Jackie, thank you for your positivity and have a great Thursday. Thank you so much. Thank you for a great session, Leanne. So lots of people have obviously found this super useful, which is great as well.
Great, yes.
And please do return next Thursday, 12:30 again, won't it, Liz?
12:30, and what we'll do now is we'll build on this week and we'll go forward again then next week.
Brilliant. So everyone who's been tuning in, we really hope that you'll be able to spend this week reflecting on your 2020 and the challenges you faced, how you overcame them, what you learned from it, and then you'll be ready for Liz's next session next week.
Yeah, next week. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Liz, and we'll see you again next week.
See you next week, Laura. Look forward to it.
Have a great week, everyone. Stay positive.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.